None of it makes a lot of sense, but like I said, we couldn't get anyone to talk to us. Hey everybody, I am Genevieve Wood, and we are on the streets of D.C. As you can tell, we are on the streets right outside the U.S. Supreme Court, where there is a rally going on to protest Brett Kavanaugh being appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, this is a rally that was organized by almost 20 different groups. It's called a Working Women Will #Stop Kavanaugh. When we tried to talk to, though, people part of this #Stop Kavanaugh, Morgan, our producer, went up to about 11 different folks, and nobody would talk to us. So we're going to kind of give you our take of what we think is going on here. Most of the folks that are involved are part of labor union groups. We've seen some folks from the feminist majority, for example. I've seen anti-NRA signs. It's your usual, I hate to say it, those on the left, special interests, who wouldn't matter who President Trump appointed, they would be opposed. And it's interesting that they had this whole thing. This is like Working Women to Stop Kavanaugh. Justice Kavanaugh, as a judge on the D.C. Circuit, has hired more women as law clerks than any other judge. I understand he's actually hired even more female clerks than any of the sitting members of the U.S. Supreme Court. So it's interesting that somebody who seems so pro-working women has a precedent going on out here. This working women saying we need to stop him. Anyway, none of it makes a lot of sense, but like I said, we couldn't get anyone to talk to us. So I've asked Jenny, my colleague at the Daily Signal, who came out with us in what's a little bit of rain here, if she would be our on the street today person. Thank you for talking with us.
Of course, anytime, Genevieve.
So what's been your takeaway from the speakers we've heard? We heard, by the way, just now, Gilda Bran, the senator from New York. What's your take on all this?
Well, I'm frankly not surprised that no one really wants to speak to us because there hasn't been a lot of fact or substance that we've seen. I also find it highly ironic they're chanting, "This is what democracy looks like." That is quite true, yes. You have the right to protest and assemble. President Trump won the 2016 election. He's president, so now he has the right to nominate someone to the Supreme Court. They just don't respect that decision.
Because they don't respect the fact that they don't believe will rule in favor of special interests, which is what all these groups are up here.
Right, but this is no surprise. The left frequently tries to use the Supreme Court as kind of a legislative branch to get through policy that they can't get through otherwise because it's so unpopular.
Right. Well, and we also found a little bit ironic that Senator Gilda Bran, who was buds with the Clintons back in the day, Bill Clinton, forget how nice he is to women, is up here talking about how Kavanaugh will be not a safe choice for women, that he will be a terrible choice. He will do women in this country basically will not be able to work and will not get paid the same and all these terrible things if he's made a justice on the Supreme Court.
Well, it took her decades to come to that conclusion. Brett Kavanaugh's record stands for itself. We're going to have a lot of great content coming out from the Daily Signal on that. He has hired so many women. They have great things to say about him, so I don't know.
Yeah, we're going to say, well, and it is supposed to be what the record says. The hearings are coming up September 4th, as you all know. We will be covering that live on the Daily Signal. It'll probably go for 3 or 4 days. Republicans have said they are going to make sure he is seated on the high court before it comes back for its term, which starts on October 1. And I will say it's going to be an ugly battle, I'm sure. But if this is the size of activists that you can get when you've got 20 different groups organizing on a lazy day in August in Washington, that ain't much opposition, folks. All right, we will see you back here next week on the streets.